All right. So next portion is scheduling. Again, when starting these videos, we're going to start from the dashboard. From the dashboard, you have several options in your scheduler view. You have a day view, a week view, month view. You can view timestamps and time cards. This section here is available to regular officers. Now, regular officers cannot see other officers' time cards. Only you, as a supervisor, would have that ability if that is unlocked through system operations. Um, so, that being said, we'll look at the day view. This is just how it looks. This is going to be the view that you use 90% of the time. And we'll talk about a few things. So up here, these are staffing levels and hours. This 18 to 17 is the hours in the day. For precision, our days actually start at 1800 hours. That's the cycle that we're on. And down here is the number of officers that you have scheduled to be on at that time. So at 1800 hours, you have a total of 11 officers scheduled. At 19, you have 11.5, and that's because down here, one officer comes in at 1930. You can see over here, so 8 a.m., there's 0 officers scheduled. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, we have 0 people scheduled as well. Down here, you can see everything is grouped by base and or location. And this is how open shifts show up on the schedule. It's just this redded open or redded out block. If you need details on something, such as a location, you can hover over the comment, this little text bubble right here, and it will tell you the site. Over on the right side, you have a few things. If someone was approved or pending time off, canceled time off, whatever, it'll show up in this portion here. Availability. When people input their availability, they'll show up here. For example, Officer Smith is available from 1800 to 0600. So if there was an opening somewhere on the schedule that falls between those hours, uh, they have indicated that they are available for those hours. And then these are your swaps and trades that are affecting today's shift, and then all staff uh, is listed right there. So that is your schedule view. Right here is a breakdown of any errors or issues with the schedule. And then you have a pass down. The pass downs, I don't know if this is going to be how these will be employed, but we'll talk about some more of those in operations section. This could be a potential way to move away from the individual email shift reports. And we could possibly put everything that goes in those reports into the pass down. And there are a few benefits to that, but we will not waste time now. We are talking about the schedule. On the other side of this, we have week view. It's just broken down on the left side by location, date, and then you have your officers listed. And then month view. Again, this is a brief overview, just enough to get you going and so that you can potentially answer questions of others. And obviously, you're going to need to play around with it yourself. There's different things that you can do. There's different views that you can set up. Play around with it yourself. Timestamps and time cards. if you are using a computer in a location that is recognized and within our geofences, you can record your timestamp from the computer. But you can otherwise view your timestamps. Availability. This is a good thing to remind part-time officers to do. They can go in and they can add their availability for multiple days. All they would do is come over here onto the schedule, say I wanted to submit availability for the 17th, 20th, and 27th. And I am available from say 12 to 8. I can list those for those times, and then I can also set base and station preferences. I can write a note and then I can create my availability and it will show up on that schedule view like I showed you for Officer Smith. So unavailability is the polar opposite of availability. If you have part-timers that are unable to be scheduled or whatever, this is not used for scheduling PTO, but more so for part-timers who want to make sure if they're normally scheduled for an event, a recurring event, they can block out days with unavailability. Hours change request. If you need to request to change your hours for previous clock ins, that is done through there. Shift swaps. There's a couple things to talk about in shift swaps. Shift swaps are typically done in the same pay week. And obviously, in the same pay week, they're going to be in the same pay cycle. So, what someone would do to create a swap, they would select that. There's a shift for shift swap where I can go in and I can say, okay, hey, I need to swap my shift for Regent Park. And I need to swap it with, say, Mr. Or Lieutenant Belli. And I can preview the shift swap. It'll tell me if there's any errors, just like so. Uh, Lieutenant Belli is already working on the day that I have selected to try and swap. But say he wasn't working, I could submit the swap. It would then go to the second user, the person that you're swapping with, for them to approve on their end before it is finally elevated to administration for them to approve. So there's multiple layers involved in this. Shift giveaway. This is more so for someone, say, at least how we use it on the EMS side. This is for someone who is either a part timer who has picked up a shift, or this is a full timer who has picked up an overtime shift. Again, not part of their normal shifts. They can create a shift giveaway where they're not going to receive a shift in return. They just want to give up the hours. They're okay with losing the hours. Again, this is not something for officers to put in for that accrue PTO or have any sort of leave balance to use that leave balance. This is for extra shifts for full time guys and for your part timers if they're trying to find coverage. Now, just because they log a shift giveaway or they submit one, they are still responsible for the shift until the giveaway is approved and then filled. That's that's a non-starter. Make sure everybody knows that. So, time off request. This is going to be for your full-time guys to be able to request PTO, or if someone needs to cancel a shift, either an extra shift or they need to, it's a part timer that has to cancel due to whatever reasons. I actually have a couple examples for this following weekend. I have to cancel a couple of my shifts to go handle some family affairs. But what that would look like is I would select the date. Uh, I would select the date that I was working, and then I would ensure the starting time. I would select the number of hours off, and then I have a leave category type. So for our military members, if they're going to be away at drill or whatever, they can select military leave, PTO, sick, or generic time off, or cancel. And then if they were using, say, sick or PTO time and they have a balance, they would say PTO and then they would select their PTO hours. And what IOPS does is it automatically calculates your remaining balance based on what you have pending. So it's not going to be a case of where someone can put in too many days off, they all get approved, and suddenly they have a negative balance. They would complete the leave request there, and that's how they would submit time off. They can go and look at their time off request. As you can see, I did 2 cancels for the 21st and the 22nd. And I have, it was a cancel, so it's not pulling from any leave balance, and the status is pending. I am still responsible for that shift until that pending moves to approved. That is your time off request. The other big thing that you are going to need to let people know, especially the part-timers, is your open shifts. This is the page where they can go to see what is available besides looking at the schedule and moving from day to day. They can go to this list and they can filter by position. They can see what's available, and then they can request the shift. Once they request the shift, I will go in and show you that. Uh, so I will request this shift, and then we will go back to the day view over here, and now you can see that you have one request to work. You'll go down, you'll click on it, you'll hover over request to work, and it will give you the option to assign. Now, when you assign it, it's going to give you some information, or when you go to look at this, um, it'll give you hours. Again, this only applies if scheduling is in your responsibilities. So if this is not part of your duties or scheduling is not a part of your scope, then this is completely irrelevant. You will not be touching this. But it has some good information if that is something that is in your wheelhouse. Again, this is a very generic video for everyone in the company. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to cancel that I'm going to cancel that request, or I'm going to deny it so that I can just remove the request. So it still shows up as an open shift. All right, so that is pretty much the user version of scheduling. That's just so that you guys can help newer officers understand how they use this program to schedule events. Um, the next section we'll talk about is some operations, and I'll see y'all in that video.